Sometimes a relationship doesn't feel the way it used to, and the question quietly becomes, is this just a difficult season or is something actually wrong? Most people imagine that healthy relationships feel peaceful and stable all the time. You might be surprised to hear this, but every relationship, even strong ones, go through difficult seasons. Stress, loss, life transitions, misunderstandings. Sometimes those seasons can make people question the strength of their relationship or even the love they share. However, emotionally healthy love is not defined by the absence of difficulty. It is defined by how two people move through those difficult seasons together. In this episode, we're exploring why strong relationships sometimes go through challenging periods and how emotionally mature couples navigate those seasons without losing the connection they've built. I invite you to grab your favorite beverage and settle in with me as we talk about one of the most important truths about love.
Becoming the magnificence in me, empowered, strong, and gracefully, with poise and elegance, I can see I am who I was born to
be. Welcome to Becoming, Conversations in Elegance and Empowerment, a sanctuary for women who desire to live with purpose, grace, and quiet confidence. I'm Sinesa Lusinger, your host, author, and transformation guide. Gentlemen are welcome to listen in, but this space is intentionally crafted for the elegant woman becoming all she's meant to be. If this conversation resonates and you'd like focused private support, I invite you to explore private coaching. You can find more information anytime at becomingpublishing.com. Now, let's step into today's topic. Here's something most people don't hear enough. The idea of effortless love is often misunderstood. You see it glamorized all over social media, but most of it is false advertising. Not all, but most. Many people grow up believing that if a relationship is truly meant to be, it will always feel easy. Movies often show love as effortless. Two people meet, fall in love, and remain emotionally connected forever without struggle. That just isn't real life, and real relationships exist inside real life. Let's face it, real life includes stress and outside pressures that can help a couple bond even more deeply or break them apart if their foundation wasn't a strong one to begin with. There often is career pressures, financial concerns, family responsibilities, health challenges, or unexpected life changes. Even strong couples can experience moments where they feel distant, overwhelmed, or emotionally disconnected. When those seasons arrive, people sometimes assume something is wrong with the relationship itself. Often, what they are experiencing is simply a difficult season, not a failed relationship or marriage. Many women come to me when they're in this exact place, and they're ready to stop sitting in the uncertainty. It's been my personal and professional opinion for years that lasting love comes from a deep commitment to the friendship, not what you imagine your perfect match to be. As we've discussed before in a previous episode this season, when you fall in love with someone's potential and not their reality, you will always wake up disillusioned and disappointed. In a 2014 guest post for GottmanBlog.com, Zach Brittle described how love is powerful, but couples need to also have like for each other. Quote, I need to know that she enjoys, respects, admires, and appreciates me. And to be fair, I need her to know that I enjoy, respect, admire, and appreciate her. This is what I mean when I suggest that sometimes love misses the point, he wrote. He explained the following things lead to what Dr. John Gottman calls the positive perspective or positive sentiment override called PSO. These things are considered essential by the relationship researcher for managing and surviving conflicts. Build love maps. Know your partner's world. Become an expert in her likes and dislikes. Listen to his stories. Again, know about her dreams as well as her fears. Care about his favorite motives and his least favorite food. Share fondness and admiration. Let your partner know that you're proud of them. Notice their creativity, intelligence, and empathy. Out loud say, "Well done. You look hot. Thank you." Turn toward instead of away. Hold hands. Answer his questions. Ask her opinion. Laugh at his jokes. Meet her eyes. Quote, "In the same way that a multitude of sins chips away at a relationship, PSO protects and fortifies your friendship and helps you survive those days when you're due for a fight," Brittle wrote. This advice is just the start. I have more to share with you, including the research on what happens to couples during times of stress and how to survive difficult times next. I invite you to stay with me. If this conversation is resonating and you recognize yourself in what we're discussing, I invite you to apply for private coaching. I work privately with a small number of women each season who are ready to rebuild confidence, strengthen emotional boundaries, and make clear decisions in life and love. This is structured, focused work, not surface motivation. If you're navigating heartbreak or life transitions and you want grounded private support, you can apply at becomingpublishing.com. I personally review every application. If you're having conflict in your marriage or long-term relationship, you're not abnormal and you're not alone. Kyle Morrison was a featured blogger in 2024 on gottmanblog.com, where she explained that it's perfectly normal for a couple only married a couple of months or even many years to find themselves in conflict and disillusionment. Quote, "The Gottmans often quote psychotherapist Dan Weil, who says, when choosing a long-term partner, you will inevitably be choosing a particular set of unsolvable problems that you'll be grappling with for the next 10, 20, or even 50 years. In fact, Dr. Gottman's research found that a whopping 69% of the ongoing problems in marriage are unresolvable, and that's actually comforting when you think about it. It means that the majority of couples are having the same difficulties you are about money, sex, in-laws, kids, whatever," she wrote. Research in psychology and relationship science has consistently shown that stress changes the way people communicate and respond to one another. Dr. John Gottman and Robert Levinson's 1992 longitudinal study found that during periods of heightened stress, couples are more likely to misinterpret neutral interactions as negative and respond with defensiveness or withdrawal. Additionally, research published in Current Directions in Psychological Science in 2009 explained that stress reduces emotional regulation and increases reactivity, making conflict more likely even in otherwise stable relationships. When individuals feel overwhelmed, their emotional bandwidth becomes limited. They may become more irritable, more withdrawn, less patient, less expressive. These reactions don't necessarily mean love has disappeared. Often, they simply mean that two people are navigating pressures that require emotional resilience. This is supported by research in stress psychology and emotional regulation. When individuals are under stress, the brain allocates more energy towards survival and problem solving, which reduces capacity for patience, empathy, and emotional responsiveness. Psychologist Dr. Lisa Neff's 2004 research on external stress in relationships found that stress outside the relationship significantly predicts increased conflict, emotional withdrawal, and reduced responsiveness between partners. Strong relationships are not defined by the absence of stress. They are defined by the willingness to remain committed while working through it. Relationship research supports this. Dr. Gottman's 1999 work showed that the stability of a relationship is not determined by the absence of conflict, but by how couples respond to each other during moments of stress and disagreement. Couples who maintain what he calls a positive sentiment override, a foundation of respect, affection, and friendship, are significantly more likely to remain stable and satisfied over time. When I was studying marriage and family therapy in graduate school, we were talking in class one day about traits of lasting marriages. My instructor said attachment has a lot to do with it, and research shows that couples who are committed to maintaining their friendship are the most successful. This aligns directly with decades of relationship research. Dr. Gottman identified deep friendship, including emotional intimacy, mutual respect, and knowledge of each other's inner worlds, as the foundation of lasting relationships. In his book, The 7 Principles for Making Marriage Work, Dr. Gottman explained that couples who prioritize friendship are better equipped to manage conflicts, maintain connection, and sustain long-term satisfaction. Many years ago, when I was going through my own relationship issues, I came to the realization that the problem in many marriages could be as simple as there being great unmet expectations. So, how do you adjust your expectations? Dr. Tony Fiore of selfgrowth.com offered these tips for readjusting your expectations. Step 1. Decide what is reasonable. This may be tricky because different people have different ideas of this. One way to do it is to think about it when you are calm and cool. Many things that seem reasonable when you are worked up later seem ridiculous and petty. Step 2. Eliminate the word should. None of us can control other people, try as we might. People behave the way they behave for their own reasons. Instead of shoulding others, state needs from your own perspective. For example, I'd prefer it if instead of they should. Step 3. Recognize limitations. People often behave badly toward us because of their limitations or problems, not because they are purposefully trying to make us miserable. People are fallible and may not be able to live up to our expectations, or they may have a different agenda in meeting your expectations. Relationships have their limitations. Marital research shows that 69% of relationship issues are basically unsolvable and perpetual. Wise couples accept this and find ways to live around the issues rather than engaging in constant conflict. Step 4. Be tolerant of other views. Rather than convincing yourself that others are wrong, tell yourself they simply see things differently than you do. No need to get angry over this. They may be as convinced of their truth as you are of yours. Step 5. Explore ways to get needs met. The underlying reason we often get angry at others is because our basic needs are not being met as a result of the situation or behavior of the other. Sometimes we develop great unmet expectations because we're allowing our egos to run the show. We can get into a pattern of thinking only about what might be best for us instead of thinking about what might be best for our relationship. When we marry someone, we still remain an individual, but we also become one unit with our partners. If there is no physical or emotional danger in the relationship, then we have no need to let our egos rule and reign over us. Dr. Wayne Dyer put it beautifully when he once said, quote, "Let go of your ego's need to be right. When you're in the middle of an argument, ask yourself, do I want to be right or be happy? When you choose the joyous, loving, spiritual mode, your connection to intention is strengthened," end quote. Dr. Dyer used to say that the word ego stands for edging God out. It's that thing inside us that makes us behave selfishly. It causes us to focus on competition with others rather than serving them in our purpose. It interferes with our spiritual connection. The key to overcoming the ego is love. Quote, "Lovingness is a feature of your natural state, and your ego isn't part of that state. Ego dominates because you've separated yourself from your God self, the loving self that came here from a place of perfectly divine, unconditional love. You've carried this ego idea of your own self-importance, your need to be right, for so long that you've deluded yourself into believing that the ego self is who you are. By allowing this illusion to be the dominant force, you've created, through your ego-centered self, a heavy imbalance in your life," Dr. Dyer wrote in his book, Being in Balance. He went on to write in his book that we get what we think about. whether we like it or not. If we feel we are missing love in our lives, then we need to show the love that we feel missing by caring for others whenever and wherever possible. Quote, love of this nature leads you to forget about your own ego and want what you desire for yourself even more for another person by consciously having spirit weigh in through the energy of your thoughts. You've tipped the balance in favor of your desires. Your ego, which identifies with your body, has been relegated to a less dominant role, he wrote. Experts say that keeping the flames of passion alive in a marriage not only enriches the lives of the couple, giving them better health and longer life, but it is also good for the children. Quote, what people forget is that a healthy marriage is the foundation for a healthy family and healthy children. Children of healthy marriages have less anxiety, depression, substance abuse issues, and better school performance and self-worth. It benefits all of us to put time and energy into keeping the connection alive in our marriages, wrote therapist Beth Reeder Johnson in a 2015 blog post. So, what happens if you're in a marriage that is less than happy? Elizabeth Town explained in her book, Happiness and Marriage, that even the most unhappy of marriages are actually a part of a grand plan. Quote, I cannot believe that unhappy marriages are mistakes or that they serve no good purpose. The law of attraction draws together those who need each other at that particular stage of their growth. The unhappiness is due to their own foolish refusal to learn, she wrote. Town tends to agree with Dr. Gottman when he claims that contempt is one of the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. These are indicators that a marriage will end in divorce. Quote, remember that contempt for each other is at the very bottom of all marital unhappiness because the man despises his wife's tendencies and she despises his. It never occurs to either to try and make over themselves, thus helping along the very thing they were drawn together for, Town wrote. Emotionally mature couples recognize that difficult seasons do not erase love. They simply require patience, communication, and mutual support. If something in this conversation resonates with you and you're reflecting on your own relationships or life circumstances, that moment deserves attention. Sometimes it helps to step back and talk through what you're experiencing with someone who understands relationship patterns and emotional dynamics. If you've been listening quietly and thinking, I wish I could talk this through with Sine, the Clarity Reset is the place to start. The Clarity Reset is a private coaching session designed to help you gain clarity about your relationship, life direction, and the patterns that may be shaping your experiences. You can learn more or schedule your session anytime without an application at becomingpublishing.com. I invite you to stay with me because next I'll give you some real-world in-practice tips that can help you take all this knowledge and put it into use in your own life. Many of the ideas we're exploring this season are expanded on in my newest book, Becoming Lavishly Loving, available on Spotify, my website, and most online booksellers. It explores intuition, emotional boundaries, and protecting your inner world with elegance. For women who are ready to apply this work in real time, not just understand it intellectually, I offer a private 3-month coaching container where we rebuild confidence and clarity from the inside out. You can learn more and apply at becomingpublishing.com. I used to think that marriage is hard, even when you marry the right person. It was my experience that every day wasn't going to be like the first when he could do no wrong, and my spouse made me feel like I was the most important person in the world to him. I now have 4 years of new data, and I don't believe that is true for everyone, but I do realize that it is true for some people. As we talked about in a previous episode this season, attention in relationships is still vitally important. It's what signals to your partner that you care, that they are the most important and valuable person in the world to you. When you communicate this to them on a daily basis and show it through your consistent actions, they become convinced that you love them more than you did in the very beginning of your courtship. This is what keeps the love alive. This is how strong couples move through hard times. So, what does this look like in real life? It's important to make this distinction because understanding something intellectually and living it are two very different things. If you're in a difficult season in your relationship, I want to offer you a few things to focus on. 1. Stay connected even when you feel disconnected. You may not feel close. You may not feel understood. You may not even feel particularly loving in the moment. But strong couples don't base their actions on temporary feelings. They stay engaged. That might look like sitting together even in silence, checking in briefly instead of withdrawing completely, choosing not to shut down emotionally. Connection doesn't require perfection. It requires presence. 2. Pay attention to how you treat each other under stress. Stress reveals patterns. It reveals how you communicate, how you handle frustration, how you respond when your needs aren't met. This is where your relationship either strengthens or weakens. Ask yourself, am I responding to my partner or reacting to my stress? 3. Protect the friendship. This is one of the most overlooked parts of relationships. When life becomes stressful, couples often stop laughing together, talking casually, showing appreciation, but that friendship is the very thing that carries you through difficult seasons. Sometimes it's as simple as asking about their day, noticing something they did well, sitting together without conflict. 4. Adjust expectations during difficult seasons. Not every season is a peak season. There will be times when energy is lower, patience is thinner, life feels heavier. That doesn't mean the relationship is failing. It means the relationship is moving through something. And sometimes what sustains relationships is not intensity, it's steadiness. 5. Remember, you are on the same team. This is one of the simplest shifts and one of the most powerful. It isn't me versus you. It's us versus the situation. And when that perspective changes, communication changes. Emotionally healthy couples understand something important. Love is not measured by how easy life feels. Love is revealed by how two people treat each other when life becomes difficult. Strong couples tend to practice a few key habits during challenging seasons. They communicate openly. They give each other grace during stressful periods. They remember that they are on the same team. And maybe most importantly, they refuse to treat temporary stress as permanent truth. Difficult seasons pass. What remains is the strength of the relationship that moved through them together. Love is not a permanent state of emotional perfection. It is a commitment to continue showing up, even when life becomes complicated. It's the daily practice of appreciating the other person and showing them how grateful you are to have them in your life. And when two people choose to move through difficult seasons with patience and care, the relationship often becomes stronger than it was before. Thank you so much for spending time with me on Becoming Conversations in Elegance and Empowerment. If something in today's conversation spoke to you and deeper focused support feels right, I invite you to explore private coaching at becomingpublishing.com. Until next time, stay elegant, stay empowered.
Becoming the magnificence in me, empowered, strong, and gracefully, with poison